Hello, guys. We're live. How you doing?
I'm
Hello.
outstanding. What about you?
You should get inside. It's raining.
Outstanding. Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
I
good.
just need to
I'm
mute
good
myself.
now that my microphone works.
Yeah, he's got his microphone working. So, welcome to episode 3 of the Stadia Source Roundtable. We're going to be talking through some of the week's events regarding Stadia. I must admit, before we start, that I have kind of been elsewhere for a lot of it. I mean, I've had a wedding that I needed to go to, and I've been working on trying to get the website sped up because we're getting quite a lot of complaints of it being too slow at the moment, which I think it's down to our host. So I'm counting on you guys to fill me in on this one a bit, if that's all right. So yeah, first things first then, I just want to introduce Adam in the top right there. He's the newest member of the Stadia Source team. Primarily, you've been writing reviews for us, haven't you, Adam?
Yeah, that's right.
You'll be getting, they'll be more visible on the site, obviously, once we've moved to the new host as well. I plan to kind of bring the reviews more front and center as well as the regular news. So you'll be seeing a lot more from him going forwards. But Adam, I'd just like to kind of have you introduce yourself to the team and to our viewers and just tell us a bit about yourself, if you would.
Yeah, sure. So, as you can probably guess, my name is Adam, and I got into gaming when I was 1. Actually, on my first birthday, my mum gave me a Game Boy, the original Game Boy, little tiny thing. Well, quite a brick, but still, little small Game Boy, and I remember playing Metroid on it. That was my first introduction to the gaming scene. And ever since then, and Tetris, of course. I've played Tetris a lot. But ever since then, I've just loved gaming. And the reason that I really enjoy Stadia as well is because it saved me £2,000 saving upgrading my computer.
Definitely, yeah. So what kind of games have you been playing on Stadia?
Well, because I'm trying to review them, I try to play as many of them as I can. The problem is I can't own all of them. So some of them I only get to play for a little while. But the main one that I've been playing over the week has been midweek has been Spitlings. This weekend it's been Ghost Recon. The beginning of the week is Farming Sim, but you don't want to know much about that.
You never know. We might have some Farming Sim fans in the audience there.
Maybe.
So yeah, it's good to have you on the team anyway. So thank you for introducing yourself. And I'd like to extend that question of what we've been playing to the other guys. So let's start with Duncan, seeing as he was rudely interrupted by Ash last week.
Oh, yeah. I've been playing some Spitlings, as you may have seen, and I was the troll phone. So that was my new name on Twitter. I was playing in the Sounds of Stadia podcast, so you can check that out on their live stream. I've been playing some SteamWorld today, which is really quite good. And what else have I been playing? Destiny 2, some Borderlands, just a mixed match of a lot of games are for me this week.
And you didn't mention Grid, and that's pretty much what I've seen you on every time I've checked Stadia.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my head's like I said, yeah. I've been playing a bit of Grid as well, and I haven't been doing too bad in that. I haven't been finishing last like in other games.
Supercross.
Yeah, that's his favorite game. So yeah, I've been playing the SteamWorld games, tried out Quest and Dig, tried to stream for both of them and failed massively. Don't subscribe to Stadia Arcadia. I've just seen that. Oh god. Other than that, I've been playing my normal NBA 2K20 and a bit of Spitlings as well. I really enjoy that game. It's super hard. I'm at the 4-point-odd levels now, and I'm not going to have much hair by the next stream if I keep playing this game. It's just getting hard AF.
So I know I kind of want to touch a bit more on Spitlings later on in the show. I've yet to purchase it. if I'm completely honest with you, but I plan to do so. Obviously, when I get kind of back to my normal routine of playing games, and instead of working on the site and preparing for this wedding that I went to. So, yeah, other than that, a little bit of Destiny 2, as always, a little bit of Borderlands 3. I think we played some Supercross at the beginning of the week. I'm not sure. I can't remember who I played that with, but I don't know if it was with Megatron X or something. When was the last time we played that, Tommy?
Yeah, I was just going to say, no, we played with Duncan, I think it was Monday, wasn't it? And then you bugged out and me and Duncan had
Oh, yeah,
another
it was
race.
your stream, wasn't it? Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Megatron was the week before that. So,
Yes. It's all right, I forgot, and it was my stream, so...
yeah, you came last, didn't you?
Yes, horrendously. Duncan beat me.
He's been practicing, that's why.
Nope, I didn't. I did no practicing. I was just pure flick.
So yeah, no, I kind of need to branch out a bit more. I think I'm playing it safe with Destiny at the moment just because I'm a big fan of the game, but I could definitely do with branching out a bit more on that. Anyway, let's move on to the pro games for this week. Well, for this month, sorry. SteamWorld 2, SteamWorld Quest, and Grid. I believe, Duncan, you've played some of them already.
Yep, I've dipped into all of them, so I have. SteamWorld 2, or SteamWorld Dig 2 even. Yeah, I've been just playing that there just before I came on. Enjoying that. SteamWorld Quest, I've had a wee go at that, and Kelly's been playing a fair bit, and she's really enjoying that. And Grid, yeah, I've been in and out of that all day. So they're all pretty good games there. And Grid 1, I think, is an excellent choice because it can showcase Stadia-only feature, so which is a big thing in the 40 car race.
I was going to say, I feel like now that they've seen these events that have been going on with the 40 car races in the community, it seems like a really good way to maybe try and get a few more people onto the platform if they want them to buy the additional content.
I think it was a very smart move by Google to add Grid to the pro games. Such a massively popular game.
What I was going to say, the one to look out for now is Ghost Recon. I think that's going to go on just to showcase Stream Connect.
I really hope not. I only bought it yesterday.
Just don't play more than 2 hours.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, you didn't buy the deluxe edition for £100, did you? No.
No.
I still
You've got to
remember.
be crazy. I'm not paying £100 for a game.
When we gave that game away on Stadia Super Saturday, and then someone come back to us and said it's the deluxe edition, it's worth £100. We were like, Google gave us like 4 of them to give away. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So
plus the Borderlands.
Plus the Borderlands, plus the hoodie.
Yeah, it's got to be
as well.
But the Borderlands ones that we gave away, were they just the vanilla game, or were they the deluxe as well? So we gave away
like
roughly £1,000 worth of stuff all in then.
Yep, it looks that way. Yep.
Whoa.
That's absolutely crazy that Google gave that to us as well to give away. So, yeah, again, I know we've said it before, but big props to Google for that.
Yeah, definitely.
I personally, like, I know I keep saying it, but I've been at a wedding this weekend, so I've not actually had a chance to sit down and play these games yet. I've been busy at a spa, getting pampered and all that jazz, just to rub it in case you guys are jealous.
Not really. No.
Not really, no. But yeah, obviously I plan to probably jump on Grid at some point. I don't know whether we'll be playing Spitlings later. I think Chase from Stadia Talk mentioned it. So I might jump into that game later on, so I know a bit more about it. But I watched your stream, Tommy, with it.
Yeah, thanks for dropping in on that.
Yeah, I like I said, I was busy at the time, but I still made time to drop in for 5 minutes just to see what it was all about. So, yeah,
it's a good fun game. It's just like I think probably the first 20 minutes of the game, you're like, I don't see what the fuss is about. It's in difficulty and so on. And then all of a sudden something just changes and you're like, I just can't do this. It just gets hard. And then it gets harder again. I have had to skip a couple and come back to them just because like I spent an hour on one level. And I was just like, this is just mental, and it's literally dying within like the first 20 seconds as well. It's just like over and it leaves like a little outline of where you've died, so you can see where you were. And I just had a cluster in the exact same spot. It's just like, oh, this just can't be done. And it was actually the same part as where Eddie finished off on his 4.5 hour stream. I could see the life had come out of his eyes when he was doing that. He was just gone. And then I got there and I was like, oh god, yeah, that took me an hour.
So, and Duncan, you joined in with the Sounds of Stadia, their live stream.
Yeah, and I wasn't trolling.
So where's that name come from then?
I don't know. It's false accusations towards me. No, it's really good fun. For me personally, I don't think I could play it single player. I would have to be co-op the whole time. I think single player for me, it's a bit bleh. But multiplayer, even doing the levels themselves, it's a hell of a lot better than just a single player. So definitely get people to play with if you're going to play it.
Yeah, I'd like to maybe do some sort of like community thing like they did as well, where we have obviously some people from the public coming to play with us as well on Spitlings. So I don't know if you guys would be interested in that at some point. We'll get that sorted. Yeah, I also want to touch on the fact that the developers of Spitlings obviously were in the Sounds of Stadia live stream as well, answering questions and basically just having a blast. And I don't know if you've all seen the video that they posted on Twitter of them watching the live stream.
Yeah, you can hear Tom in it quite clearly as well.
Yeah. You turned that into a gift, didn't you? But to me, that was incredible just to watch them having so much fun, watching something that they've poured their heart and soul into making be enjoyed by the public. That it's not often you get to kind of see that side of the developers of a game.
No, I actually can't think of a single time I've seen something like that. In that sense, where there's 4 or 5 developers sat around just actually after hours watching somebody's stream and interacting with them as well. And even if they do that, they don't post a video of them doing that so that everybody can see that that's the kind of developers that you're dealing with. And I think it's really refreshing to see that in the industry today. Everyone just looks at it as crunch time these days and non-stop 18-hour days. And clearly these guys are still having fun with their game, and that's what we want to see, right?
Yeah, I can only imagine the amount of fun that they had obviously making it as well when they were testing it and playing it internally. So to kind of see that go on a wider scale must be immense. I mean, I've dabbled with game making in the past, and I still have people to this day messaging me about one of the games that I put out 12 years ago yesterday. And every now and then I like to go onto the comments of it and just see what people are writing, and still to this day people are commenting on it. And that's a game that I'm not particularly that proud of. I kind of made it just willy-nilly, really. So for them, I can kind of see where they're coming from and how that feels, if that makes sense. It's just amazing.
It's also great to see that game was developed wholly in Unity as well. So it goes to showcase that when we got that little bit of news that Unity and Stadia are going to be really compatible, it's an eye opener to what games we're going to be getting from smaller teams of people as well. Oh, actually, also on that, I did notice. Was it Lost Worlds that's also made in there? One of the games that's coming that put a claim to fame that they're going to be the first Unity game released on Stadia, and the massive mini team devs took a not a perfect opportunity to poke fun at that and just being like, "No, we beat you. Sorry."
Yeah, I've dabbled in Unity as well, but not too much. But yeah, big props for them to making that game because it just looks hella fun. So, do you want to move on to the next part, or you got anything else you want to add to the Spitlings talk, guys?
I just wanted to quickly. Oh no, you want to go?
Yeah, you go.
Okay.
You first. Mate.
Where you were saying about the developers were interacting with the community and joining in with the stream and all that, I think with these new Stadia features that have been announced, where you can jump in whilst watching a video of someone playing, hopefully we'll see more of this happening. I mean, it would be great, let's say, with Red Dead, if some of the Rockstar devs decided to join in. They'd probably get harassed with complaints and whatnot, but it'd still be nice to play with them.
Yeah, and the features that Stadia can offer to do that it's never been done before. So I do think that we will potentially start seeing a trend of developers having, maybe if it's only on the release day and so on, just being visible within their games as well. I mean, I know if I was sort of in charge of that kind of thing, I'd almost be like telling everybody now, like literally every game that we release from now on, we're going to do this because this works really well. It gets people talking about the games. It gets people wanting to go on and play it more. It's the easiest kind of PR that they can do, and it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So moving on to some of the game announcements that we got this week for games that are upcoming. Rock of Ages 3. Any of you guys had a chance to check that one out?
Not since I first seen it. It's funny you say that. I was looking on the Stadia Source website, adding Spitlings and the new games to the games catalog, and I came across the thumbnail for it again, and then seen on Twitter about it. So it's something that I should probably look into a little bit more because I don't know a great deal about it. But it's just more diversity as well to the platform.
Yeah, it looks like a tower defense game, and I have a fondness for tower defense games, so I think I'll be checking it out for sure.
Adam, yourself?
I haven't had a chance to look at it. It's certainly something that I will be doing soon. However, I'm excited to see any games coming to Stadia, big and small, because at the end of the day, Stadia has now replaced my PC. So Rock of Ages, I don't know whether this is a AAA or if this is just a little indie title, but I'm still excited to see it come, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about it.
Yeah, it's not a AAA, but
I did assume it wasn't, but
the fact that it's on its third iteration obviously means that it does have, a good following out there. So yeah. It'll be interesting to check that one out. And like you said, it's just more games really, which is exactly what we need right now. Something to suit everybody. Were you going to say something there, Duncan?
Oh yeah, I was just messing about. I was going to say is I've got actually. You were saying that it's replaced your gaming PC. I've actually got a poll going on my Twitter Twitter account, and it's actually pretty even of how many people have said Stadia has completely replaced it, or they're just waiting for something more to drop. So it's Stadia is getting close to replacing a lot of people's main consoles and platforms.
It's replaced mine so far.
Yeah, and same here. I mean, I said a while back that I can quite easily see me not buying into the next generation of consoles at all, based on the fact that I have Stadia, which is my main point, and also for the games that aren't on Stadia that are on PC that I can play, I'd be tempted to play them through GeForce Now at the moment. So I have no real need to use even my own PC. In fact, it's pretty much just a web browser and an editing station at the moment.
Yeah, same. But my Xbox is sat over there just collecting dust at the moment, and it's not because I don't like Xbox. I mean, as I've said in the past, I used to be a massive fanboy. I used to bleed green. But I just the games that I want to play are on Stadia right now. So
For me, I'm just missing one or two games. It's I need a football game, not Football Manager, an actual FIFA or PES. I don't care either or, and I want my Slay the Spire on on Stadia. And there's so many things I could do with it, but we won't go down that rabbit hole.
Probably just Sonic Mania for me, but that's just something I kind of like to dip into. Obviously, I've played it a billion times already, but Club Stadia thinks he's the only Sonic fan, but I'd probably put it out there that I'm a bigger fan of Sonic than he is.
For me, I would say that Skyrim's the only thing missing.
Oh, don't do it. Please don't do it. I don't have enough time to go back and play that game again.
I do.
If we're just going to talk about games as well, we're getting to a point where backlogs are now being created on Stadia with just the amount of games which are coming out on Pro and just the regular updates. Because look, we've got Serious Sam coming this week as well.
Yeah, and that's 3 titles in one.
Chase is just saying gimmick infringement, damn. I said I'll out-Sonic him any day.
So I think now by count, to your point then, Duncan, I think I'm now on 15 games, of which 15 games. I still haven't played the Rise of the Tomb Raider. Still haven't played Metro. All right, that's the only 2 I haven't played, but the others I've not played more than probably half an hour of. I've just been playing Spitlings, NBA, bit of Borderlands, and Guilt. Really, I'm hesitant to play Ghost Recon because I knew it was getting redeveloped, or not redeveloped, but changed, and that's obviously been put on hold now. So I'll probably just start playing that because whatever they do, they may not even end up doing it. If it's going to be towards the end of this year, I can't really see them bothering because there's so many other things that are going to be coming out. They'll just let it die off, and it's still fun.
Yeah, I'm up to 21 games. Which, but to be fair, there's a couple of the pro games I'm not going to touch, but I have beat a good load of them. So I have all the Tomb Raiders are gone and such like. So, but I do have a steadily rising backlog now.
Yeah, my backlog's getting big. I haven't actually counted how many games I've got yet, but I think I'm going to be starting Rise of the Tomb Raider soon, just to kind of catch up with my father-in-law, who's still kicking my ass on Tomb Raider. One thing I actually do want to throw out there as well, I don't know if you guys saw my tweet the other day, about how he basically rang me up, and normally he only lives down the road from me anyway, so it only takes him probably about 5-10 minutes to walk here if he needs, or me to walk there if he needs my help on Tomb Raider. But he rang me up and he's like, "Can you just not log into my account and play it for me?" And I was like, "You've got a good point there." So he gave me his login details. I logged in on Chrome here. I pressed play and I picked up exactly where he was in the game. You know what I mean? No loading or anything like that. Killed all the baddies. Told him press play on your end, and he loaded up obviously where he was, well, where I finished, and he just carried on playing. And it was just, everything was just so instant. And I just found that absolutely amazing. I'd never thought about doing it that way before, even though I know that's kind of like a pretty, you know what I mean, well-known application for Stadia.
Yeah, but you know, you can kind of dive on that a little bit more with the update that we got. Well, I say that we got, that I done a little piece on with the family sort of sharing. Now, interestingly, if you look at most platforms that allow you to do that exact thing, obviously they're not as fluid as you can do it in Stadia and how you've done it, but a lot of them will tie it to the network still, right? So you can do that, but they've got to be on the same internet connection. Whereas on Stadia, that for doing it the way that you've done it isn't an issue. But is that going to work across family sharing? Are they going to lock that down so that you need to be on the same internet connection? Because at some point we're going to be able to wander around and do this. We're not going to have Wi-Fi when they turn it on that you can use cell data. that becomes something that you can't do unless they just say that you cannot use family sharing if you're not on a Wi-Fi connection. But that's the only way I can see piracy. It's not really piracy, but you're bending the rules of the license agreement, right? If you are able to do that and you can have 4 people, so we could all buy a game and share it between the 4 of us. Granted, only one person can play it at a time, but that's they haven't obviously told us anything about this yet. But I remember getting really excited when Xbox One launched, and that was going to be a feature that you had a friends and family sort of service where you could share games. And it'd be interesting to see if Stadia kind of tries to do something a little bit different there and allow that to happen, and see if people can benefit from it.
And what I can see them doing as well something like the PlayStation does, where you can actually get someone to do the level for you without having to actually log in. Just jump on, go and do that as well. So that should be reasonably feasible for them. I think the Xbox does it now, if the Mixer doesn't it, where you can take control of the controller, so you can just do that a wee bit.
Yeah, again, these are more things that we need to see integrated into YouTube now as well.
Well, I wonder if they were going to do anything with the state share. So I think someone mentioned it the other day to me. Like, obviously, we know that you can say if you've got like a high score in trials, for example, you could share your state with someone else so that they could try using the same variables as what you had, like the same bike, the same track, etc., etc. But can they carry on from your progress there? If you know what I mean. So
I think they could. I'm pretty sure they can just continue on from that. As long as I've got the game, they can just continue on.
So that raises an interesting question then, because let's say, for example, that I'm halfway through Borderlands 3, right? And then Duncan says, "Oh, Dan, state share your Borderlands 3 with me. I can't be bothered to play through the first half. I just want to kind of, you know what I mean?" Or let's say that there's a really, really hard achievement to get, and I'm on the cusp of getting that achievement, and I state share with Duncan, who then loads the game up. Bing, he gets the achievement. Like, how does that all play out?
You have to enable state share. So, and I would assume there will probably be limits on it as well. So that
publish limits. So you can't just share at any point in time.
Yeah, I think it's more the state shares will be implemented into games. I'm going to go for it against Slay the Spire. You load up the seed of Slay the Spire, and you can play along with your favorite YouTuber, play along with whatever you find a really fun seed, and you share that. I don't see it being a willy-nilly Borderlands free or anything like that. It's going to be specific games which suit the instance of it. And if you remember back to the GDC talk of last year, this how nerdy and stuff I am, there was that developers as actually making his game from the ground up to take advantage of state share.
See, I think that it probably will be wider than that. I think most people are going to be able to do it for most games. But as soon as we went down that, my mind went exactly the same place as yours, Dan. It was like, well, a game like Borderlands is going to be really broken by this, because nobody wants to grind to level 50, especially if you've already done it on one character. But if you can state share somebody right to the end of the game, where you can just farm any of the bosses and probably leveled 50 in a day, then that doesn't work.
Well, the only reason my mind went there is because obviously I've mentioned in a previous stream that I played through Borderlands all the way till the end on the Xbox, and it's really grating me having to start from the beginning on Stadia until at least they do a cross save, which I'm not sure is on the cards ever, to be fair. But
I would have thought we'd have heard it by now.
Yeah, especially when they did the roadmap the other day as well. So
I went geeky there, and I looked it up. Games have to implement it, and they have to. It goes on all details. They have to implement it.
That's basically a no then, because they don't do it across the other platforms. They're not going to randomly do it just for Stadia.
I just wanted to say that you mentioned that they haven't announced that feature yet, but I was reading an interview. I believe it was with the Spitlings developers, or it might have been Lost Words, and they were talking about the developer said, "I can't say too much about the features of Stadia because I can't remember which have been announced and which haven't." So we have still got some features to come, but he wasn't very helpful in telling me what they were.
Oh yeah, there's loads of features coming. Even if you go through the JSON stuff, which you can download off uh, the website, of Stadia's website, all the details. There's some really interesting things there. Like I think there's you'll be able to view everybody who's streaming on YouTube on through Stadia. So anybody who on Stadia is streaming, you can actually go into their stream and watch it because there's a thing called discoverability in the app. So I think there's so much stuff coming and they haven't announced it all yet. It is going to be nuts. And there's going to be things we haven't even thought of.
Definitely. So on to the next game that was coming out as well. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check out this one, Chris Tales.
No, this is new to me.
It's new to you.
Mm.
Okay, so this is again by Modus, the ones that are making Rock of Ages, and it is a JRPG. If I just bring up my screen here so you guys can see it, obviously.
Bye, Duncan.
And me as well.
That's probably better. That's probably a good thing now. Keep it like that so you don't see me. So you don't have to put the 18 rating up now because my face is in the show.
So yeah, there's a trailer if anybody's interested on Stadia Source on that. If we actually go onto the website, you can see a little bit more about it here. Yeah, it just looks like a fun little JRPG, really. There you go. There's a screenshot for you all.
Is this announced today?
No, this was 3 days ago.
I've just not seen it. Clearly, I pay so much attention to our website. To be fair, JRPGs aren't really my cup, so I probably would have skimmed it anyway.
To be fair, it wasn't really announced. Like, they didn't really make a big song and dance about it. It was kind of just snuck out there, if you know what I mean. And I think a lot of people would have missed it had we and a few other people not posted about it. So that's probably why you did miss it.
Yeah, to be fair, I've not seen it on the socials at all. So, but then I don't follow anything that would likely put it up either. If that makes sense.
Apart from Stadia Source, obviously.
I was going to say that.
I don't follow Stadia Source. They don't follow me.
Oh, that's the next hashtag, is it? Unfollow Stadia Source.
It's not the label. No, there you go.
I think that game's going to be Marmite. And, I think it's you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I don't think it's all right. I think you're going to really get into it, or you're just going to be nah. I don't want that. A bit like Farming Simulator.
No, everybody loves Farming Simulator.
Doesn't work for me. I still can't play it in Chrome.
Why?
It's just super jumpy. Just will not. That, and I can't play Borderlands very well in Chrome. Even on if I set it to the lowest, it works. But if I put it on balanced, I can't. So I just don't. I'll play it on the TV and that's it. Which is why at the moment I haven't put much content up for Borderlands.
To be fair, I've not tried Borderlands on Chrome, so maybe I'll have to.
Yeah, and just a public service announcement. If you're playing Borderlands on the Chromecast Ultra, we have it down to balanced. It's a much different game because you go from 30 to 60 FPS.
Yeah,
just remember that.
Resolution is not as important with that game either because of the art style, the cell shading. It's not cell shaded, but that style is much better with the fluidity of the 60 frames than the 30.
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to Chris Tales, I think again it all boils down to that fact that I mean the large variety of games. There are a lot of people out there that are interested in JRPGs. At least until we get obviously things like the new Final Fantasy. I don't. Can you even class that as an RPG still anymore? Or
It's so far removed from what they used to be now. Since 13, I think they've kind of changed heavily. I guess 14 is definitely it's an MMORPG, but kind of a different game again, isn't it? But
yeah, I did jump into the Final Fantasy. Is it 15 on Stadia? I jumped into that the other week, and I remember being slightly underwhelmed by it. I'm used to Final Fantasy just having an amazing soundtrack, like from the get go, and there's hardly any music in this at all, really. So
yeah, you get the very beginning, you get some music, and then it just kind of disappears.
yeah,
Doesn't really come back.
rest in
Yeah.
peace, Final Fantasy music.
Yeah.
And speaking of Final Fantasy, it's just looks like the demo's coming out for Final Fantasy VII next week. Not on Stadia, but it looks like the demo's coming out next week.
I think if it comes to Stadia, it's going to be a real last-minute decision, and I don't think it will.
Yeah,
We've got a year
fingers
anyway.
crossed. It's what?
Got a year.
We've got a year because there's a year's exclusivity on it, so
Yeah.
you never
So
know.
it's a year of trying to avoid spoilers, even though we already know what happens.
Well, do we though? Because they have basically said that they have rewritten parts of the game. So you
Haven't they broke it up into like 2 sections as well?
Yeah, so you spend like a massive amount of time now in Midgar, which was such a small portion of the game in the original, and they've stripped out a lot of the filler, if you like, and just made new filler.
All killer, no filler.
Yes, killing rats, I think, is one of them. That's one of the quests. And I'm not joking.
So I feel like we've gone off on a massive tangent. We're now PlayStation Source. Just so you guys know. So let's move on to Baldur's Gate 3. I've seen that. How dare you, Duncan? So the Baldur's Gate 3 reveal aired the other day. I know Chase from Stadia Talk is a big fan of this one as well. So he's been talking about this on his channel. What do you guys think? Did you watch it?
I
didn't.
Straight up, no.
I watched it. I enjoy what I was saying. I actually like when the games aren't 100% perfect and everything doesn't go to thing, because that just shows it's actually real. But I actually enjoyed the news coming out after it, where we got to know that it's coming day and date on Stadia in early access, and there is multiple Stadia only features. You've got the crowd play. Remember, I have to get these terms right. I'm awful with the terms.
I know, yeah.
The crowd play, where if you're streaming it, the person can choose, or the people watching your stream can choose what choice you've got. And there's other ones which they haven't announced as yet. So that is something really interesting. And that's our first early access game, which has been announced. So it's really, really, it's got me intrigued. The price point is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be 60 quid.
Because in early access, normally games are a bit cheaper. But will it be cheaper in early access on Stadia?
I think it probably will be. I just don't think it's going to be like the traditional early access costs. But that being said, this is probably one of the biggest AAA titles that is going to be almost in some ways built for Stadia and ported elsewhere because of these extra features. Now, while I didn't watch the stream, I have watched smaller versions of it to try and glean some of the information. The only reason I didn't watch all of it was I spent so long playing Original Sin that I'm scared of this game. I don't want to get lost in this. But going back to what you were saying a minute ago, Duncan, the fact that like with the whole ladder incident I believe that was part of the original stream, where there was a AI just constantly going up and down the ladder, not engaging. So the developer just on the fly deleted the ladder to stop that. That's the kind of stuff that I like seeing. When most of the others are just like, yeah, we're just going to skip over the fact that this imperfection exists in our game that's not even remotely finished. Just be all right with it. It's in
Own
development.
your mistakes.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to watch the Baldur's Gate live stream reveal, but I did look at some of the screenshots and whatnot, and read up a few articles explaining what had happened. And I'm more excited about the fact that we're getting early access. I think that this wasn't something I was expecting for Stadia. I expected beta tests, but I wasn't expecting early access. And Chase has pointed out that it would quite possibly be locked behind Pro.
Yeah, I think it will be. I think we're going to see. That's all right. I think we will definitely see all of these kinds of features locked behind Pro, purely based on the fact that if we're not getting Destiny as a free-to-play game on base, I don't think we're going to see any of those features available to base participants either.
I think the point in the stream was the game would be locked behind Pro initially. I don't see that happening. But I do agree with the shout. If you haven't watched it, go watch Stadia this week in Stadia, where they discuss all this. There's my plug over there. But the one I do agree with they were talking about was controller. I don't think controller will be in early access on Stadia. If you have a look at the screen, I think that's going to come at a later date. So if you're going to play Baldur's Gate 3 on Stadia, I think a keyboard and mouse initially is the way you're going to have to play it. That is a big thing because all games on Stadia have to have controller support, even though if they don't work that well, i.e. Football Manager. I know someone was mentioning Football Manager earlier. Football Manager is hell to play with the controller.
And some of these games, we don't expect them to work particularly well on controller either, do we? I mean, like say, perfect game, Football Manager is not a game for controls. Yes, you can do it, but that doesn't mean you should. And I would personally be absolutely fine if 6 months down the line from now, Stadia dropped that requirement, but made it very obvious that when you're buying a game, if it's made to play with a controller. In the same way, actually, NBA 2K20 is a perfect example of this. If you load that game up and don't connect your control, it will tell you to connect the control. It won't even allow you to try and play that with a mouse and keyboard. But it's common sense, and I wouldn't be mad if they did it the other way, but they would have to put a much bigger banner in saying that this is mouse and keyboard only.
Going back to my on-live days, 10 years ago, really depressing, where some of their games were keyboard and mouse only or controller only, and it was all marked very, very clear that you cannot play this without controller or without keyboard and mouse. So it can be done. It opens up that box, which...
I think we spoke about it in the previous stream, didn't we? About why do they have this stupid rule that, you know what I mean? Yeah, it has to cater for all, because again, it comes down to the fact of like, if you're playing something on a mobile phone, I think we spoke about the GUI on it as well, which I think Tommy, you mentioned it. No, Adam, was it you that mentioned it with Gwen? Sorry.
Yeah, she told me that the most difficult part about developing a game for Stadia was making sure that the user interface looked good on a 65-inch TV or on a I don't know, a 21-inch monitor. You guys have probably got bigger ones than me.
Duncan will tell you how any game looks on any monitor.
I might be bigger than yours. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, guys.
It's not about the size; it's how you use it, and on mobile screens as well. She said that was the most difficult part, was making sure that the user interface scaled really well onto mobile screens. And then I can say, just as an aside, that Farming Simulator, which I've put in my review, the user interface doesn't scale at all. when you're playing onto a mobile screen, which makes it almost impossible to play unless you know, unless you've got a lot of experience on it, and you don't need to see the little bits of information. It's really impossible to play.
Well, I'd like, for example, for a games development company, and this does open a whole lot of floodgates to something that I kind of predicted might be a thing back when Stadia was first announced, and that is crossover between potentially the Play Store and Stadia. Because as a developer, you might go, okay, I want to make a game specifically for Stadia that works best only on tablets and phones. I'm not so bothered about screens. They can play it there if they want. But I want it specifically to work, you know what I mean, for one and not the other. Why can't that be a thing?
That sounds a bit like the Apple Arcade.
Yeah. And I didn't know whether there was going to be some sort of integration between the Play Store and like the achievement system. I think I wrote about it in a very, very early article where I did a lot of speculation, which is rare for me when it comes to trying to guess. You know what I mean? I like to kind of stick to the facts, but whether there was some sort of possibility that they could be developing games for one specific screen and not all of them.
I think this is going to come in time because you will just outright get developers that are like, this game is not going to work on a mobile device, so I'm not going to bother putting it on your platform if that's a stipulation. And
you might as well just put it on the Play Store, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, again, things like Farming Sim. So that's not the most user-friendly game to get to know. And anybody at the moment that wants to play that on a mobile device is going to tell you that Stadia doesn't work because you can't read their interfaces, let alone that they could then go and play it on Duncan's 65-inch TV, and then you'd probably still argue that the interface doesn't work properly because it's too big. But there's just no need for them to lock themselves into this or pigeonhole themselves into this cupboard and go, right, well, sorry, we won't accept your game because it doesn't work on mobile. It seems stupid.
So I just want to point out something that was written in the chat. Share Stadia. Welcome to the stream. Definitely need touch control support for mobile games. So we did touch on this, last week. I don't know if you've seen this. I'm assuming that. 1 second, I'm going to bring this up actually. So Touch Stadia basically brings your touchscreen controls to Stadia on a mobile, and I've actually tried this out, and it actually does work. You can also say, for example, I had someone asking me how you use the analog sticks on it because you couldn't run around. You actually just touch like these bits of the screen here, the left and the right bits. Now I've used it. I went to the tower in Destiny and was able to talk to Zer to get my weekend rewards while I was at the wedding. So it's good for things like that, but in terms of like actually playing properly, it all depends on what game you're playing. For example, you ain't going to be able to play Crucible in Destiny and expect to get more than 2 kills using these controls. I don't know if any of you or the guys have had chance to try it out.
Apple fanboy.
Biggest regret of last year.
So yeah, if you want to check that one out as well, Share Stadia. That's definitely it's good, like I say, just for jumping kind of in and out of small tasks that you need to do in a game. So
yeah, and this has all been developed in a relatively short time. I'm sure that there you go, the cat just ran past. I'm sure that in the future these controls will get more fluid. It's never going to be the same as using direct input, but it doesn't need to be, I don't think. And again, nobody should be attempting to play Stadia sorry, not Stadia. Nobody should be attempting to play a game like Destiny, any sort of fast-paced, action-orientated game with those kind of controls. And to be honest, I don't think they deserve a place on the mobile storefront other than being a screen. I think if you try and integrate everything into them, it's just not going to work. They get too busy.
Now, if every one of my enemies on Destiny wants to use the touchscreen controls in PvP, that'd be great. I need that 25 kill streak.
What I do see maybe happening in the future is when this gets a bit more mature, is we're going to have games where you will be able to just go out and play on your controller as a part of the bigger game. So you're like going out gathering resources while you're on the go, and then when you go back home, you can go and gather them up and actually use them. I think we're going to have games within games because
almost like a companion type app as well.
Yeah, so it's going to be
that's
games
a good point.
Games.
I was thinking that we might see a feature a bit like Play. I think Xbox does this. I'm fairly certain it does, but I know PlayStation has this, where you some games they have a companion app, like you said, like Fallout, for example. You can tell the game, like you have your inventory open and your map and whatever. You can just click fast travel on your phone, and then that translates over to the PlayStation.
Very good ideas. Tommy's, there's a joke to be made there, but I'm not going to make it.
I was waiting for it. I can see Duncan.
I was about to do this. Take you out of the stream for having X-rated material on the stream, but
I'm kind of surprised he's not talking yet. No, clearly not talking.
Hi, Tommy. Why are you holding me?
This
What are these strange men talking about?
There you go.
But yeah, were you going to say something then?
No, it hurt.
Oh,
It had enough.
So, Duncan, you wanted to talk about. You've kind of just brought this to my attention, so I'm going to bring it up here on this other screen. When it loads. Let me just get rid of that banner. Duncan, do you want to talk us through this one, seeing as you just brought it to my attention?
Okay, you can skip the first paragraph because there's the biggest pile of nonsense in the first paragraph because it's saying Stadia is Netflix of games. But basically, it's a lot of devs are saying that Stadia aren't ponying up the money to make it enticing for him to come to the platform. It's stuff that I've been talking about before, where the numbers aren't big enough, so they need more to make to port their games across to Stadia. It's pretty interesting if you get past that, but I think it's just a case they're trying to maneuver themselves to get better deals going forward. So it actually goes on a wee bit. It's been picked up by, I can't say Kotaku, and a couple of the well-known game devs have started talking about it as well. I think it's just they're wanting a lot of money. So
which bit were you referring to on this article?
It's a bit further down there. It's from about here. Say we have been approached by the Stadia team. Usually with that kind of thing, they with some kind of offer that will give you an incentive to go with them, but the incentive was kind of non-existent. That's the short of it. So they're not ponying up the money, or they're not making it very attractive to get a lot of games onto the system.
Nobody can see what's on your screen. Can anybody in the chat read that?
I think it was maybe a bit of a delay when it was before you made the font bigger.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've just had a quick read through it as you were talking about it, and yeah, the first bit's a big pile of nonsense. Again, like you said, I think they've got a little bit of more of a point as you go down. I think the part about, you know what I mean, when you've not got as big a player base as what people like Xbox and PlayStation, you've got to give someone the incentive to want to bring their games to Stadia.
Yeah, I thought it was worth bringing up because it is doing the rounds everywhere now. But I think it's positioning. They're just trying to maybe try and get better deals and that sort of thing. It's not very. I don't really agree with it. I think they're being a bit short-sighted is the biggest issue there.
Yeah, they wouldn't have said these things about Xbox when that first launched, and there's not many games for Xbox, including not backwards compatible either.
Yeah, that, and it's interesting that no developer is named at all within that article. You would expect that. I don't know of a single sort of developer that's at least announced that Stadia have approached them for anything yet. I feel like the platform has probably been just more of an open invitation to everybody. If you have a game and you want to put it on Stadia, get in contact with us. I don't think they are going to be chasing the studios themselves to say, how much money do we have to pay you to get that game on here at this point. I mean, that will come when they really want to get them exclusive titles on Stadia that are sort of like the blockbuster games. But at this stage, I don't see that that's even on their radar for what needs to be done right now. And they clearly have a plan of action. We are getting a lot more games roll out. There's announcements week on week. I don't think they announced them particularly well, but I'd rather have them subtly pushed out than not pushed out at all.
I think we spoke about it in a previous stream as well, about the fact that with the games market being so small on Stadia at the moment, if you bring your game out, people are going to see it first and foremost because it's not saturated. The marketplace isn't saturated with many games. And not only that, but I think some people tend to have bought games on Stadia for the sake of just having games on Stadia, not necessarily because they're interested in it.
Spitlings.
Yeah.
It's the perfect example. I think that has got so many more eyeballs on it because it has came out in Stadia. It was only, was it the only game released this week?
Dig.
Or the pro games today. I'm talking about the actual.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was in there.
Only game released this week. The devs made hay on it, and everybody seems to love it.
Yeah, I know those games are coming out on Xbox and what have you, but I think if they had come out solely on Xbox, they would have just been washed away by the sheer amount of games that you have on Xbox. So the fact people tend to buy games just because they're on Stadia, just to fill out the games library. I know I've bought some personally that I had no interest in before, and all of a sudden because they're on Stadia, I've decided to buy them. So, like Tommy said, it's a case of people wanting to approach Google and say, we want our game to be on your platform because it's going to get a ton of eyes on it.
If I can just add to what Tommy was saying about these indie devs and the larger gaming publishers, I think at the moment Google's actually making some really smart business decisions, because these brand new games like Spitlings and Lost Words, all of these games that are going to be exclusive, they have worked out deals with these indie developers. The big ones, there's no problem. They've probably got negotiation teams talking to each other every day, trying to renegotiate prices, things like Ubisoft and EA and all those big names. But I think the problem with the indie devs who who are trying to re-release their game, on Stadia, they can't get the exclusivity because they've already released their game, and they're not big enough to be able to negotiate a good. I don't know what they do behind the scenes when they're trying to get their game released, but they just don't have the I don't quite know what I'm looking for, but they're missing something to be able to negotiate a better position than what they're in.
I just think Stadia are being a bit tight with the wallet, personally.
I think that.
Not just when it comes to
maybe.
games, but in terms of like PR and just their overall business plan. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but
I have a feeling that there are too many business-orientated people involved with Stadia, and not enough of the game industry. I know they've brought some serious names to the table, but we only see these very rarely. We don't see them being the face of what's going on with the communications, and I would like to think that they're slowly loosening the reins, because I feel like it's improving. But I mean, why not just stick somebody like Jade Redmond out there and just be like, you go and talk to people, because we know people will listen to you, and not the faceless people.
I'm just going to go to a wee point what Seven has made here. Too many indies for me at the moment makes me afraid that 100 of the 120 games are like this. I am beginning to get a bit worried of this as well. You may have seen that a new game from Harmonix was announced this week called, I just get the right name here, Fuser. It's going to be like a DJ game. I thought that was going to be a perfect game for Stadia. There's going to be plenty of DLC, and that is not coming to Stadia, and that's coming out in the autumn or fall, depending on where you are. That is a worry for me, that we're starting to see this, the fall time games, and Stadia is not getting mentioned. So it is just something to keep an eye on.
definitely, yeah. Right. On to the next topic, which is GDC. I think this is our last topic as well before we have a look through the chat and communicate with some of you guys. So GDC has been postponed. I know, sad day.
I think we all knew it was coming.
We knew it was coming, so we did, and at least we're going to get a digital day out from it.
Yeah, you know what? I actually like that idea at least 3.5 times more than GDC for Stadia, because we're going to get it completely focused. It's not going to be all of the other stuff that's coming in and taking anything away. This is a really, really good opportunity for Google to take center stage here and invite anybody that wants to be a part of that platform into it. But it means that they get the power move.
Something to worry about, and I don't want to be the harbinger of doom, is E3. E3 is on watch now, so it's, don't be surprised if that gets soon.
I may be the minority when it comes to this. I haven't enjoyed an E3 for the last 2-3 years. I actually feel like it doesn't really need to be a big thing anymore. So many developers are choosing their own ways of doing it now, but I don't know. I think I look at E3 more for the cosplay than I do for anything else.
I remember being let down. I think I've said it in a previous stream as well, because like I've said before, I used to be an Xbox fanboy, and I watched the last few years of E3 and just remember being severely underwhelmed by what I saw. So, Adam, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, like you said, it was inevitable, and I saw somewhere that there was a fund that had been set up. I really wish that I'd written notes down for this, but there was a fund that had been set up for the smaller devs, because it costs money, quite a lot of money, to get a booth in this event. And they're looking to reimburse or just assist the people that are really losing out. People like Ubisoft, any of the big names that would have been there. This is a drop in the ocean with their pockets, very deep pockets. But I just wanted to focus on the fact that at least someone has said, do you know what, we're going to try and help you, because you are going to lose out from this.
There's a couple of people have jumped onto that. there was a tweet sent round, which I've sent it down there, which was basically saying that how they're going about it to try and get people some money back or try and help them out with travel expenses to GDC.
Let's bring that up for you. Heavily out of pocket due to non-refundable travel. Wings Fund Me have teamed up with some amazing partners to offer GDC relief fund. Yeah, it's good to see some efforts being raised by the community, and I think we saw this with the Australian bushfires as well. Sorry, Tommy, I'm going to bring you back.
That's all right.
Yeah, we saw this with the Australian bushfires, the community coming together for the greater good. We can obviously achieve a lot when we all stick together, and we've seen that time and time again from the gaming community. It's absolutely amazing. So, yeah, if you've got, is that something obviously we can donate to, or?
Yep. I think you can donate a couple of quid there if you want, or you can. There's ones you can donate to. Is that there's a Wings Fund Me there? Or?
Yeah. So if anybody's interested in doing that, obviously keep your eye out on that one as well. But yeah, this whole coronavirus thing is crazy at the moment. The fact that it's affected so much. You know what I mean? In today's population, everything from travel. I mean, you'd have never have thought, well, when we first heard about coronavirus, for example, you'd have never thought it would have got to this stage, especially with GDC. I mean, I certainly didn't.
I kind of felt that the Ebola scare that we had a few years back, we were all more wary of Ebola because we thought zombie films were very popular at the time, so we all thought that was going to be the next virus to wipe us all out or whatever. Thankfully, a lot of people lost their lives, but thankfully they managed to find a cure for that, I believe. But at the very least, Ebola has the amount of cases has very much diminished. And I think that gave us a false sense of security with this coronavirus. People didn't realize that it is just a strain of flu, and flu is one of the most contagious viruses out there. And so people were thinking, oh, it's just another Ebola. But no, this could potentially spread just like those wildfires in Australia have.
Yep. And I know this is completely off topic, and we've kind of gone. We're now Virus Source instead. But my father-in-law actually sent me something. A book was published in 1981, and they predicted this down to the T almost, saying that this virus would sweep the world, and then all of a sudden it would just disappear as quickly as it came about. So I don't know how whether you believe in that type of stuff or not, but it just seems like a bit weird.
I think I know it's a bad thing, and a lot of people have already lost their lives. And fortunately for us, that doesn't seem to be the same here as it does around the world. But a 2% mortality rate is pretty high when you consider if it does hit pandemic levels. It's an awful lot of people. But at the same time, for most healthy people, this isn't going to be something to panic about. You got to look at the as Adam said before, the level of mortality just from normal influenza throughout this period of the year for elderly people. It's the biggest killer. So I feel like if we didn't have media, social media, and things like that, this wouldn't be known about as much. And I think we're seeing a trend of this, that something bad happens somewhere, it's always spread. As long as people have travelled, things have spread. But we now get told to go and flash buy everything in the supermarket to
The news of it spreads faster than the disease itself.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just one of those. I think like you say, I think we'll be fine. I think it's caused a lot of disruption, and rightly so. I think that should probably be, if something like this goes on, just don't let people travel in and out of the country for a month or so.
I think them cancelling GDC was a responsible move.
Yeah.
As much as it's obviously a downer for us because we were excited for it, and we've posted on Stadia Source some of the keynotes that they're going to be having on the day. If I'm correct in thinking that they're going to be doing some of those digitally now for us, is that what you said earlier? Yeah. So it probably means we will get to see more of it than what we probably would have had it been a live event. So there's silver lining in that respect. But yeah, it's definitely something, you know what I mean, they needed to do, in my opinion. So
I think these big public functions are just slowly decreasing anyway. The fact that they can beam it straight to you, and they can edit it as they want to as well. It doesn't have to be the same. I'd prefer to watch it like tailored to be watched than from somebody's iPhone 10, 15 rows back.
But this brings the topic of the Stadia Connect, whether we'll get another one instead. And I noticed that Google actually responded to someone on Twitter, and it was kind of normally they it's a very hard no or nothing at all, but this one was a kind of stay tuned, if you like. It wasn't a no, but it also wasn't a yes as well. So
Oh, can I just put a public service announcement out there about these digital talks which are going to be happening? And other things are going to be talked about we won't see for years. It's going to take a while for all the features and stuff to trickle the way into games. So you might hear some really, really interesting thing, and then it's not going to appear for a while.
So yeah, that kind of brings us to the end of what we wanted to talk about. So before we move on to the comment section, is there anything you guys want to put out there before we do?
No.
No?
Don't
jump right
subscribe to Stadia Arcadia.
We knew it was coming.
I think it needs to be a T-shirt. I think that's your next move.
When's
bumper sticker.
your retaliation move, Tommy?
We'll
still
wait
thinking
until
of
we'll wait until we're playing Spitlings on his stream, and I will just die as quickly as I can every single time.
I thought it was the Red Dead Redemption 2 thing.
Yeah, to be fair, it was. I don't know if other people caught that or not. I was streaming Red Dead earlier in the week, and I renamed my horse Duncan. To which I then received a screenshot of me also being a horse in Red Dead Redemption.
He's going to have a clan of Stadia Source horses. Stadia Horse.
Stadia horse. Stadia stable.
Now, for some reason, I don't know if this is just Streamlabs, but I can only see comments from about 30 minutes ago. I couldn't see it from the beginning, so we might kind of have to skip some of the earlier comments. Sorry about that, but let's have a look what we've got. So, Stadia Media, how you doing? Obviously, Chase, as always, he shows up and shows a bit of love for us.
The Godfather.
7, yeah, we spoke about something you wrote earlier as well. How you doing? The Pelican 3. Share Stadia again. Thank you for joining us. I'm just trying to kind of see if there's anything we can talk about, if you know what I mean. So. Say for some reason it's only showing me like Duncan's TV needs a Twitter account. His many TVs.
You don't want to see what goes on them TVs.
It's not what we saw out of the hotel window on someone else's TV when we were at the. Yeah, you can kind of guess for yourself what we saw.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, X-rated SpongeBob.
What you're talking about with the chat, by the way, that used to happen to me as well. So that's why I just use the pop-out YouTube channel, and then you can close the YouTube stream, and you can set that to either top chat or live chat. It's much easier. And it's quicker than StreamYard updates as well.
What? Just be my screen.
Yeah. So, well, I just literally lay it over the top of the chat on the side.
No, YouTube's messing up for me. We're not having a good day, are we?
Whilst you guys are sorting that out, I've seen Share Stadia a little bit earlier on, about 19 minutes ago.
Very precise.
Well, I actually got it wrong. It was 21 minutes ago, but I did try. He said, or they said, what is speculation on the Activision, Blizzard, and Bethesda? I'm assuming you are referencing GeForce Now. I've had a couple of opinions on this in the past. That I believe that GeForce Now is it's not entirely a new platform because you already own the game. It's a bit like Steam Connect. However, these big publishers see it as a new platform, and so they want some of that revenue. Even though they're not getting an extra sale, and neither is GeForce Now. GeForce Now is making money through their subscription. And I don't think these publishers are getting the money that they want from that. So they just said, look, we're not interested. That's my personal take. I know other people have suggested that maybe that Google has something to do with this, but to me, that actually sounds a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's anything to do with Google, and I don't think they're getting any of the revenue. I think that's been what the issue is.
Actually, I'm going to say it's both. I think there has. Do you not find it a bit strange? EA games aren't on Stadia. What happened when Stadia was announced a week after at XO19?
I don't know.
Madden on xCloud. There is streaming exclusives, and money comes. And so, yeah, I think there may have been some sort of negotiations there, unofficially or officially, and that was probably around the YouTube deal as well. So, yeah, I think there is part of that. Regarding the money, developers wanting money, yeah, there was actually a tweet out there tonight about it on the reason why a dev pulled their game from GeForce Now. There we go. I think they're looking money, and they seem to be just dropping games onto GeForce Now without actually contacting the devs. So there's a lot going on there.
That's what makes me think they're not seeing any of the revenue stream. I feel like GeForce Now just decided to get an API that worked with Steam and go like, right, go at it, play whatever you've got in your library, pretty much. And obviously, from a developer point of view, like you say, the people own the license to play the game anyway. The issue is in the T's and C's for GeForce Now accessing that and playing it somewhere else.
Just because I know some people hate that word.
What a Twitter handle. That is incredible.
Oh, there was a comment I seen. I'm just trying to find. It's from Stadia Mania at 7 minutes past 10.
Yeah, by the way, what you said about the pop-out chat, that for some reason it's only... you remember when I said that some people couldn't see my screen and then I zoomed in? It's only showing me comments from there, no further back than that. So Maybe we just had a lot of comments. It can't go that far back. Do you mean this one then?
Yep. Google has I can't say it's gargantuan
Yes.
Yeah.
pockets, but they've got tiny arms that don't go into the pockets.
And that's why they have the T-Rex game.
Exactly.
Oh, it all makes sense now. That's it. We've been blind for so long.
Yeah, I think they've tried to get in the relative cheap, or they've came in a bit early because they're only wrapping up the dev studios over the last year or so. They should have been going out, bang this studio, bang that studio, even if it's just the games. They haven't reached in and splashed the cash to get the exclusive games or get the big games on board.
Stadia Dosage. Hey, Stadia Source. Hey, chat. You guys covered the BI article. Tuning in late. What does that stand for?
Business Insider.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that the one we covered earlier then? I'm assuming.
Yeah. And Google 9 to 5, I noticed probably about half an hour or so ago now, also have retweeted that content. Not ours, their own, obviously, but the same thing. So it's definitely getting a lot of talk, which is annoying because people are going to read it and think, oh, look at these sources, Kotaku, Google 9 to 5, this must be right.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that we're going to get a response, or not a response is maybe the wrong term. We could see the momentum building anyway. I think we're going to get more news. We're going to have to hear about some of the AAA games. We know we've got 3 coming this month in Division 2, The Crew 2, and Doom. Hopefully they'll tease another 1 or 2 coming in the future.
Yeah, we're just getting the tip at the moment.
That's what she said.
So Lord Moore, he's Ash that was with us last week as well. He's just popping in to say once base comes out, Stadia will get a bigger budget. I think we've mentioned that already, but yeah, I think you're right on that one. Meg, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Stadia Player 1, Eddie. Trying to catch up to everyone today, but Sundays are now daddy day. Kids come first. That's the way it is, I'm afraid. But thank you for tuning in anyway. We really appreciate it. Raf Gaming, how you doing? Completely agree with you on that, Chase. By the way, how many times am I going to see that Dragon Ball Z tweet, Raf? I don't know if you know which one I'm on about, guys.
He's a fan.
I know. But I always think he's posted the same thing and I actually have to read and realize that it is a different tweet every single time. I think it keeps showing me the same tweet, and then I realize, no, it's a different one. It's just got the same GIF, but no, it's a very good GIF. I'll give you that one. Who else have we got? I've just seen one down at the bottom I want to highlight as well, but it's just gone up my screen. Ellie Smith, you guys are all amazing. Once Stadia explodes this year, you're all going to be at the forefront of everything. Oh, thank you, Ellie. That means a lot.
No pressure.
Thank you.
I know. Big shoes to fill. But yeah, we all enjoy the platform. We want to see it thrive. We want to put the facts out there as well. So whatever else is going on in the industry, we will continue to do what we do. So hopefully that rubs off and it shows.
We'll work for Google by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd like that. Well, I would. I'm lying, but I like the idea of being open.
Yeah, employers, all Google, if you're watching. Shout out to Grace from Google as well.
And Chris.
And Chris. Well, I'm just saying that because Share Stadia asked me to give a shout out to
see that as well. Yeah.
to Meg earlier. Meg, sorry,
I haven't actually
Grace.
seen anything from Chris in a while. To be fair, I'm not actually in the Stadia Discord at the moment because I got fed up of right-clicking and mark all as read because it's too busy.
Yeah, I've had to do that with a few things.
He did post the other day in the Discord. I think he was the one who announced that Google had that interview with, I believe it was the Spitlings devs.
Massive Mini Team.
Yeah.
I need to say just quickly as well a big public thank you to Handy Games and Massive Mini Team for assisting in the information they gave us, the Q&A, speaking with Milan. It's just really nice to be able to actually speak to people on a human level. So thanks, guys. Great game.
He wants to see your.
I want to see the cat again.
Thanks for the
disturbing
content,
what's
as
going on.
always. It's not again, is it? What do you four think is coming next week?
Not a lot.
I mean, we've got some games coming next week that we know about.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, I should say nothing more than what we know of. I don't think we're going to get much of surprise this coming.
Well, when we say next week, it's more in the 10 days, isn't it? Because SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Heist were announced as launching on 10th of March.
Yes.
And the Farming Sim update as well, same day. You know what I'll be playing?
Farming Sim.
Destiny 2.
I will go out and make one of my bold, wrong predictions. Are you ready?
Go on. Drum roll.
We are going to get an update, and we're going to get the dates of when the live events are for GDC, and we will get more game announcements next week. Maybe not games coming, but I think we're at like 3 or 4 a week. They're not going to leave it 1 week and drop about 20 games. They're going to need a constant, steady drop of games. So I think we're going to get more game announcements as well.
Yeah, we heard it here first, guys. if he's right.
Which I won't be. Oh, I'll plug this. Okay, we'll go one further. I will name a game. We're going to get that Republic game. I think we're getting.
Yeah, you did write an article on that one, didn't you? So, yeah, check Stadia Source if you're wondering about that one.
Should always be worried about Duncan, though.
That is true.
I think that this may be a quieter week, but I do think the following week is potentially. I'll go out on a limb and I say I think our Google own GDC thing will be the end of March.
Yeah, 20th of March, isn't it? So
I think they might give us a date. I'll go off the Ollie's comment above that one, a couple above that one. Do you think the high number of titles coming out this year are mostly indie games? To set your expectations, yes, they are. I think it's this first half of the year is mainly going to be indie games. Indie games are the most games out there anyway. To be fair, but yes, we're going to have a higher proportion of indie games the first half of this year. From September time, we may see an uptick in AAA games or AA games. What do you guys?
No, sorry, go on.
I was saying, what do you guys think?
I think I said it a while ago. I know we disagreed on it originally. That I think the majority of the games that come out this year will be indie games. I'm kind of all right with that, based on the fact that you don't have to buy these games. But for the people that really want to go all in and Stadia be essentially their only platform, I can understand why people are kind of a little bit worried with seeing so many indie titles come out when we know there are lots of games to fall this year. But if you look at how many games have been pushed back this year, I think until we get to fall of this year, generally speaking, this year is kind of a write-off for games. Everything's going to come out at fall. There's going to be far too much choice in what people want to play, and things are going to get waylaid by the likes of Cyberpunk. It doesn't matter what you bring out. If that comes out in the same couple of weeks, nobody's going to look at your game, and that's a problem for developers because you cannot afford to launch the Avengers within a week or two of Cyberpunk unless you're happy to make no money.
Just another thing, be prepared for more delays as this coronavirus seems to be getting worse. And other people don't realize the amount of work China does in games as well. They do a lot of the assets and other things behind the scenes. So we will probably see some more pushback of games.
The one good thing is for CD Projekt Red, I don't think that will apply to them. But obviously, we don't know what their state will be by that point either.
Adam?
Yeah, I think that I think we're definitely going to see a lot of indie games. I mean, it's inevitable. Look at Steam. I don't really game on my PC very much anymore, but when I'm presented with the homepage, I'm seeing names of games I've never heard of, and I have to go searching for the AAA games. However, I don't think it's going to be all doom and gloom with Stadia. I don't think it's going to be 80% or 70% indie games. I think what's happening is the big publishers at the moment are rewriting their engines to port old games. Stuff like Skyrim, the earlier civilizations. I don't know. So maybe we might get some of the even earlier, like PlayStation games, for example.
Second one.
Yeah, possibly. I think that we will be getting some AAA games, but they're going to be some old ones. But let's be honest, whilst they're editing their engine, they might be remastering it at the same time for Stadia. So we might get improved versions of games that we've already played to death, like Skyrim.
Yeah, the only hiccup in that is the new consoles.
Yeah, I personally think we're getting to a point where they're going to start tailing off on the ports of older games. Not entirely. The likes of Diggs have obviously been out for a number of years, but they're slightly different. But I think the big blockbuster games, I don't think we're going to see that many of them rebuilt specifically to work on Stadia. If nothing else, I just don't think it does a whole lot of good for the platform. If everybody's just constantly getting the older games, I think there are exceptions. Something like Skyrim, everybody knows will sell exceptionally well on that platform. But I was chatting with a couple of guys in a Discord server the other day, and they were reeling off things from PlayStation 2 era and just... I think a lot of the time with these games, it's a nostalgia, and then when you actually go back and play a remaster, you're like, I don't really feel like this is what it used to be. And for me, Final Fantasy X was that. I was so looking forward to playing the remaster of that, and then I did, and I was like, it's fun, but it's not enough. The advancements that we're used to now, the quality of life improvements in games today, it is harder to go back and play some of these old games than we remember it being.
I tried to play Final Fantasy VII again on the PlayStation the other day, original PlayStation, and I enjoyed it, but it was just
it's hard.
I couldn't play it for too long, mainly because you can't use the analog stick; you have to use the D-pad on it. But
yes.
I think we need to start wrapping up here, but I want to have a wee quick response to Stadia Mania's question there about the retro section. Another mission that come on the Stadia, it's out in Antstream, and they have Tencent involved. So, all them games are... I think the only one which I'm not sure about is Syndicate Wars, but Cannon Fodder, Speedball 2, Sensible World of Soccer are all on Antstream. And that's a streaming service as well, and they do challenges and remixes of the game, so check them out. I haven't really enjoyed playing them because, as what we're talking about here, the nostalgia glasses they've aged. They have aged.
So then, we want to wrap up the show now. People have got places to go and people to kill. So, is there anything else you want to add, guys? Do you want to plug your own social media?
Because I know Duncan's going to do it for me.
Yours has been plugged the entire episode. So, if that isn't free publicity, I don't know what it is. So, Yeah, I've actually changed my Twitter handle to _x2i_ because x2i is apparently too short. But yeah, you can follow me there as well as obviously Stadia Source as well. Any you guys want to plug yours, or you're not forced?
I'm not really fussed, but if you're really bored and you just want to see random stuff, you can follow me on One to Escape.
Your TV looks broken, by the way. I know it isn't, but it looks it.
That is water. It's water. It's like waves.
Water coming out of his screen. It actually is broken.
Never put Stadia back on.
The only thing I want to say to close is I'm not going to promote my Twitter because I'm not that interested in being popular on Twitter. You can follow me if you want. I'm Original Penguin. But more than anything, if you guys just want to play with me, I'm constantly trying new games to review them. What did I say?
You know what you said.
It wasn't me. It was Dan. It was Dan this time. He said, "If you want to play with me," and Dan just.
Oh, for goodness sake!
Oh, boys will be boys.
Anyway, if you ever want to play Stadia with me, Original Penguin. That's all you need, and I'd be more than happy to. If you see me in a game, send me an invite, and preferably a party chat, so I know what you want to do. Yeah, I'm more than happy to play Stadia with you.
Thank you for the
baptism of fire.
I've gone bright red.
Oh. Anyway, yeah, thank you for joining us, everyone, in the stream as well as the guys hosting. So, yeah, it's lol, boys, calm down. Yeah, it's been a good one. It's been fun. So, yeah, we'll probably see you all again next week for the next episode of the Roundtable. So, thank you for being with us, and we'll see you on that next one.
See you later, guys.
Bye bye.
Stadia Arcadia.